Well, we go from 1-0 win to 1-0 loss, and out of the Coppa. I mean, this trophy seems to elude our beloved AC Milan more than fucking Champions League at this stage. It's unreal. Yeah, look, we're out the Coppa, guys. Already got a slur in the first sort of like 20 seconds as well, so we're doing well. Look, the first half there was almost nothing to report. We'll go through the lineups and then how the match happened. But I mean, look, it's drab. We're out the cup. Like, and I feel like so fragrant just saying that, because it's like whatever. But you know, this is a winnable competition, and yet again another season passes, and we're almost so numb to the cup that I'm almost like expected this to happen. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, forgetting that we're under really good form under Allegri, it's almost like I expected this to happen. It's crazy. Look, line up. There was a rotated team. Okay, we had Mike in goal. Tomori, De Winter got his first start in a while. Pavlovic on the left. Estepinian got his first start as well for a while. He's kind of clearly second choice left back now. With Rabiot, Ricci, and Jashari gets his first start in the Coppa, one of his first starts of the season, I believe. Salamakis on the right, and then up front, instead of the sort of 3-5-2 classic, we had Leao up top with Loftus-Cheek as a second striker. So kind of playing as almost like a second striker cam and then one up top, kind of how Allegri ran with it. And then Lazio's team was pretty much exactly the same that we played them with, maybe a different goalkeeper. I think Provedel was in goalkeeper, and I think they had a different striker for Lazio. But otherwise, pretty much the same team. And yeah, the first half was non-eventful. I didn't even get to watch it properly because terrible coverage in this country, in the UK, for Coppa games and Premier Sports. So, but I didn't miss much. I know, looking back and looking at the information, it wasn't a great first half at all. Basically, nothing to report. Look, I will say Ruben Loftus-Cheek was fantastic this game. If I had to draw any positives, I mean, again, I probably am glossing over the fact that we're out of the Coppa. We are out of another competition that we could have easily won. But again, as I think I can speak for most Milan fans here, we're so desensitized to the Coppa specifically that it doesn't even feel like we're ever going to win it. So although we're AC Milan, we should always want to be in every single competition, win every single competition. We've been so, well, me, myself, anyway, I don't know if I can speak for everyone, I've been so numb and desensitized to the Coppa specifically that I'm not even that bothered that we're out. It's nuts. Again, it's a winnable, especially this game, having beaten them in the league, obviously back in the weekend. Lazio out for revenge. But to lose, it's just like, you know, it would have gone to penalties because of the cup format had it been a draw in 90. But yeah, look, it wasn't great. I think Jashari's first start, he looked leggy in the sense that he clearly still hasn't got that rhythm. He wasn't great. He wasn't bad. He ran around a lot, put a lot of effort in, and it was good to see that. But he didn't look amazing. But again, I put that down to the fact that it will take him at least 4 or 5 games to get back to it. So I expect sort of new year Jashari to be looking much better. Leao looked strong. Again, Leao obviously had the 2 big chances there with a great ball from Estepinian, who I'll talk about in a minute, who's interesting to say the least. And I thought Loftus-Cheek was quite good. So Leao and Loftus-Cheek, for me, we get a pass, especially Loftus-Cheek. I thought it was actually quite bright, especially considering we didn't really create much. The midfield didn't really work very well with Ricci and Jashari. There was no creativity. Rabiot was the only one pulling the ball forward. We missed Modric massively. But yeah, Estepinian, let's talk about Estepinian before we get on to Salamakis, because both our win-backs this game were poor and showed a little bit of a drop down. Estepinian was terrible. Again, he had good passage of play to get that cross into Leao for our best chance of the game, which Leao fluffed his lines a little bit. But otherwise, he was really bad. Another really poor showing for Estepinian, and I really back this player. But he's starting to frustrate a little bit. I still have a bit more time for him, but Lazio, okay, maybe they're out for revenge. They probably played better. They did, I would say, they're at home than they did against us when we played them and won in the league a couple of days ago at the weekend. But even still, I'd expect a little bit more from Estepinian, I'll be honest. So that kind of happened. And then, after that, it's quite clear that Bartosaghi is our starting left back. You know, I think it's quite evident that Estepinian has become our bench option, to be honest. Salamakis also was hiked off, which was quite interesting. He was hiked off quite early. which I thought was very interesting indeed. And Nkunku was brought on. I think that was after, obviously, Zaccagni scored. I mean, I will just say to Lazio, they were terrible for about 45, 50 minutes of this game. And then going into the 60th minute onwards, they just were banging crosses in like nobody's business. Again, they could have also been doing that in the first half. I didn't get to see it in as much detail as I would have liked. But yeah, it was only a matter of time. We didn't defend through our width from crosses very well at all. And then eventually, when you have that many crosses in through corners and whatnot, they're going to score. And that's exactly what happened. The corner, Zaccagni, poor cover. I actually thought Pavlovic and Tomori were quite good. Tomori, again, I think being the most solid. He really is being his back to sort of his best, even though he conceded. But yeah, going back to Nkunku, like Nkunku was brought on for Salad, who was hiked off the 60 minutes, which was interesting. He wasn't great, but maybe a bit harsh. I don't know. Nkunku didn't look particularly good, but I think Allegri's trying to play him into form a little bit like, he's just trying to play him into form, to be honest with you. So, he was brought on, but that was quite early. So it was the first major sub that we made. And then after that, Loftus-Cheek came off for Pulisic. Luka Modric came on for Estupinian quite early on as well, just to give balance. Nkunku came on for Jashari, I apologise. And then Vardazaghi, of course, came on for Estupinian. But yeah, it was, look, I'm not sure what else to say other than the fact that we didn't really create that much. We defended poorly. And the players that we expect a little bit more from, the bench options, the players that we expect to have these opportunities. I know it's Lazio. I know they were out for blood, if you like, and they wanted to get one off on us at home. And it was kind of written in the stars we'd lose this game after beating them in the league. But even still, I expect to see a little bit more composure from the likes of Estupinian. Loftus-Cheek, I thought, was actually quite bright. But otherwise, Nkunku, Pulisic, even Modric, when they came on, we didn't look much better, to be honest with you. It just wasn't a great game. I think Allegri set us up poorly, clearly trying to do a similar thing we did in the league. And I just don't think that would have worked. I think we would have done a bit better attacking them. They sat so deep, Lazio. They offered very little considering it was their home game, but they did end up winning. They just lumped so many crosses in, to be honest. Look, I'm concerned a little bit about De Winter. I have to say, if I had to talk about one player in particular, Koen De Winter doesn't really fill me with lots of confidence. I think most of the matches he's been either starting or had extensive minutes in off the bench, he's been quite poor, I'll be honest. So a little bit of a question mark on De Winter, I must say. But yeah, Pavlovic was good. I also want to just mention a particular Lazio player. Noslin was fantastic when he came on. I think he came on a similar time to Nkunku, or maybe a bit before. But really fantastic. He gave us a lot of trouble. So yeah, I mean, look, round of 16, I believe this is, round of 16, I think, and we're out the cup. Like, whether the club want to admit it or not, obviously the main objective, I think, at this stage is the Scudetto, even though no one's talking about it. I think we've got to strive for that. But to lose in the Coppa and to, again, not have a chance of winning it after so long. Like 2002, our last Coppa victory is just absolutely nuts. It just eludes us again. There's just not that much to talk about this. We're out in the round of 16 of the Coppa. We've got to wait another year to even have a chance at this trophy that we just seem to not want. It's just mad. Even if Scudetto is the main objective and it wasn't spoken about outside of maybe inside the doors or whatever fans want to think, this was still an objective for the management. Let's not get it twisted. It really was. I think it probably would be get to the final of this, get top four, and then everything else is a bonus. And to be out of this, and then obviously if you look at the table, yes, we're doing quite well, but a couple of back-to-back losses, and you think we're out the top four, for example, we could have a bad run, then all of a sudden we're out the cup. We haven't got Champions League, we haven't got Europe, we've got the Supercoppa. That's another one that they've spoken about as being an objective. But I mean, the Supercoppa is a weaker, a smaller trophy than the Coppa. The Coppa we haven't won in so long. I'd like to win the Coppa, I really would. But look, guys, Milanisti, look, it's fair play to you for watching this game. Like I had to endure myself in it. It wasn't great. It was the bad cortomuso of Allegri trying to give a little get a little, but it was really poor. It wasn't executed very well, and we weren't creative enough. It's as simple as that. So well done to you for actually watching this match, and also thank you for joining on the instant reactions. We're loving doing these, Steph and I. So let us know. We're back for the Torino game. I think that's on Monday. I think it's on Monday night. The game's coming thick and fast. So yeah, look, we just have to try and beat Torino and move on from this. But ultimately, we're at the Coppa, and I think a lot of people, including myself, I feel apathetic to it. It's numb. I should be more angry than I am, but we've become so accustomed to this as Milan fans. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. Let's keep our chins up and look forward to the Coppa game, the league game against Torino. Brilliant. Thanks ever so much, and we'll be back for the next one if.